Jeremy here, Glasshouse Property Management. Got my best friend Buddy with me for today's video because we're talking about some upcoming changes to rental tenancy law around pets. So the new law coming effectively says that if a tenant applies for permission to have a pet in a property, a landlord is required to assess that request and accept it unless they've got a reasonable reason to decline it. And so we won't know for a little while what reasonable reasons for declining a pet are and aren't. That's going to be some case precedent that'll take a little bit of time to build. But generally speaking, it does mean that the market's going to have to shift a little bit on its position with pets. And I think that's a wonderful thing for our tenants because by and large, we don't actually see a lot of problems stemming from pets. One of the other really good things about the legislation and the way it's been written is that it does a couple of things. It makes it very clear that damage from pets isn't fair wear and tear. Now, a great example here is my good friend who has damaged my nice polished floors inside. He doesn't mean to do it, but they're going to need a bit of a polish when we go to sell this house. And so tenants won't be able to claim that that sort of damage is fair wear and tear and therefore a landlord's responsibility. They will be required to make it good at the end of tenancy. And there's also the ability coming for landlords to charge a pet bond. So on top of the 4 weeks rent you're lawfully allowed to take now, you'll be able to take an additional 2 weeks so that you've got a bit of extra money in the kitty to cover those kind of incidental things. So look, I'm not generally optimistic about tenancy law changes. They're often poorly thought out and poorly worded, but I think the government's done a really good job on this one. I think it is a positive change for the country and for tenants in particular, and I really don't see it as a big negative for landlords. You know, a lot of our tenants that have got pets are really great tenants. They really genuinely do look after the property and they stay really long term. So look, I think overall this is a great piece of legislation we should all be excited about. And of course the key here is making sure you have a really good property manager on your team so you can navigate all these things going forward in keeping with the law and have appropriate risk management in place. Thanks for listening.